What's this? What's that? What are these colors, Jesse? It's Throwback Thursday. Let's go. Don't go anywhere. We got Throwback Thursday coming your way for the first time in 30 seconds. Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX T-Backs podcast right here in Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. My name is Derek Monti, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX and occasionally known as a guy who rakes at Chase Field. This man next to me is the Thunderstick, though he didn't get to display his Thunderstick power this morning. It's also the one and only Jesse Friedman. And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to our very first installment of Throwback Thursday. What is Throwback Thursday? We don't even know. We just miss these colors. We miss the copper. We miss the teal. We miss the purple. We're bringing it back. But we do have some fun stuff to talk about in regards to the Diamondbacks history and especially this day in Diamondbacks history. But I did want to tell you this show is brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use that code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why it is never ordinary at Bet365. Jesse, welcome into Throwback Thursday. I guess a brainchild of Mr. Friedman over here, but 1 year ago, we definitely made some magic happen. A historical day in Diamondbacks history.
Yeah, it honestly worked out perfectly. As much as I would love to say that we intentionally planned it out, so that our first ever Throwback Thursday podcast would be on the 1 year anniversary of the Diamondbacks winning the pennant. That's not exactly the way it happened, but yeah, it obviously this was 1 year ago. Today was I would venture to guess one of the best days in the lives of a lot of Diamondbacks fans. Probably a lot of people joining us here on this show. So it worked out pretty well. And for a while, everybody knows, like, purple and teal. Everybody wants the purple and teal back. And so we felt it was only fitting that for every Thursday show, at least throughout the remainder of the offseason, we are going to sort of refresh our color palette around here. That's right. Pay our respects to the colors that everyone wishes had never gone anywhere.
The colors that made us, if you would, Jesse. The colors that made us what we are. But this was a very special day 1 year ago, beating the Phillies in Game 7 of the NLCS and advancing to the World Series. It was just a magical time. I mean, I think that there is a part of me that feels very empty as we have discussed this postseason, as we have made an attempt to do postgame shows and get into the playoffs. It hurts. It doesn't feel right because last year just gave us so many amazing moments, but I don't know if any were as big as the excitement that we as a company experienced on this day, jumping around this office, hugging each other. It was amazing. I think Damon leapt into my arms. He leapt into my arms, Jesse. It was a special time.
That was beautiful, Derek. I still get a tear in my eye thinking about that.
I do too.
I feel very sad that I wasn't here to witness that moment.
It was crazy. We had like 3 cameras set up because we were just in case it happened.
I have seen the video.
It in the air. You've seen the video, yes. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, man. You got Brandon Pfaadt versus Ranger Suarez in that game. You have the Diamondbacks getting up early again, and then
which was so big. Yeah, I think for the Diamondbacks to immediately get a 1-0 lead in the top half of the first inning, in that environment in a Game 7, I think it just allowed everyone to kind of settle in. And Corbin Carroll, man, I mean, he just had his handprint was all over that win for the Diamondbacks. And even in that first inning, it was a Corbin Carroll single. It was a Gabriel Moreno single. D-backs had first and third with 1 out there in the top half of the first. And then Christian Walker hit a fielder's choice ground out. It wasn't anything super, super flashy necessarily, but it got the Diamondbacks on the board immediately. And it was a close game, and they obviously were able to come away with a win.
And it wasn't just that it kind of was basically the playoffs, right? I mean, it like there was this.
It was the playoffs.
No. I mean, it was kind of the story of the whole playoffs. There was just this sense at times where the Diamondbacks were going to get knocked out. There was this sense at times that I guess this feeling of satisfaction that like at least they made it this far, right? You had that when they made it into the playoffs. Then they beat Milwaukee and they go to the Dodgers, and there was this sense of dread, and there was this sense of like, and then even but they handled their business against the Dodgers. But during the series against the Phillies, we felt that several times. Like several times you were ready to wrap it up and at least say, wow, look at this run that they went on. And instead, they just kept finding ways to win. And this was probably that biggest, like, well, no matter what happens tonight, at least they pushed this to 7. It's going to be hard to win at the bank, and you just got to appreciate what they've done up till this point. And instead, what we got was a very, very magical a game win and advancement onto the World Series, which that part maybe wasn't so magical, but we still had some fun during the World Series as well.
I think that the game started well, but in the 4th inning of that game 7, I was sort of like, all right, this is where the wheels fall off. Yeah. Like it's been a nice run, but the Diamondbacks were really about to win Game 7 of the NLCS in Philadelphia. The Phillies tied the game first of all in the 2nd inning. Alec Boehm hit an absolute missile to left field. So that was a solo shot that tied the game. And then in the 4th inning, the Phillies took a 2-1 lead on a Bryson Stott RBI double. And at that point, it was like, all right, the Phillies have their lead. The crowd is back into it. This is going to be really hard for the D-backs to come back and win this game. And the next batter was JT Realmuto. He singled. So the Phillies had 1st and 3rd, still only 1 out in the inning. They had a chance to really blow the game open at that point. But Brandon Pfaadt, man, just a trend throughout the entire postseason run. He struck out Nick Castellanos. He, I think, more or less like kind of worked around Brandon Marsh, a left on right matchup, a guy that the D-backs wanted to probably make sure didn't beat them. So they walked Marsh with second base open, and then Pfaadt got Johan Rojas to strike out to end the inning. And there were a number of examples of that throughout this game where the Phillies had opportunities to really take a lead, or in this case, even break the game open. And they weren't able to do that. The Diamondbacks, time and time again, were able to do just enough to keep the Phillies off the board, and ultimately, of course, won this game.
Well, I mean, that day was something else, and I think there's just a special like spark about that. There's something about what the Diamondbacks were able to do in that particular game that made you believe that this team was perhaps destined to win the World Series. Like I remember thinking how
it really felt that way, didn't it?
That because it was that game was what changed everything. Like up until that point, you just kind of, once again, like I said, had this feeling of gratitude. Hopefully, as a fan, had a feeling of gratitude that they had made it this far.
Yeah,
that this young team was so
happy to be there.
Yeah,
right?
Just happy to be there. That is when it stopped being that. When they beat the Phillies in Game 7 of the NLCS in Philadelphia, that is the moment when the Diamondbacks stopped being a cute story to me, that we were just happy with how far they've come.
Yeah.
And again, it was against the Texas Rangers team in the World Series that you believed that they actually had a chance to beat. Whereas up to that point, even facing Milwaukee, you kind of had your doubts. I mean, I feel like most Diamondbacks fans did have their doubts in regards to if the Diamondbacks could overcome any of their opponents, especially considering the way they played at the end of the regular season, much like the end of this year's regular season, right? But they did the thing, and boy, did they continue to do it. But that's why I was saying this win just felt special. After this win, after we saw Alec Thomas go out there and plant that flag in their field and officially declare Citizens Bank Park Diamondbacks territory, like that was electric. right? And
It was such a banner moment for Corbin Carroll too. Like the Diamondbacks won Game 7 because of Corbin Carroll and Gabriel Moreno. Moreno had a great game too. It was really those two guys who were,
because he got the single that scored Rivera, and then he scores that single on that Gabriel Moreno RBI single, I believe, that then gave them the lead.
Yeah, after they fell behind 2-1 in the 6th inning, it was an Emmanuel Rivera leadoff single. Geraldo Perdomo bunted him to second base, so he's there with 1 out. Cattell struck out, so he was there with 2 outs, and then Corbin Carroll came through with a clutch RBI single. And not only that, but he stole second base, and then he came around to score on a 2-out RBI single by Gabby Moreno. So it was really cool to see the Diamondbacks young players come through on a stage that big. And as someone who was at the bank for that game, I can attest that there was so much nervous energy in that ballpark from the first pitch. Game 6, the Phillies fans were like, all right, we're gonna win this game. We're gonna, there was a sense of confidence, I think, for Phillies fans with Game 6. Game 7, I think Phillies fans were mortified deep down. They still got loud. They still got plenty loud, especially when the Phillies took that early lead. But I think that's why we always talk about in a Game 7, anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Phillies fans were really feeling that. And the way that this game turned out, it didn't feel like a fluke, though. The D-backs out hit the Phillies 11-5. It wasn't like, the Phillies were hitting rockets all over the place and got super unlucky. This was a game where the D-backs just played better and they found a way to win. And it was, again, one of the best moments in Diamondbacks history.
Paul Sewald got 3 flyouts to end the game, and fittingly so, Corbin Carroll made the last out catching it. And we have some images, I believe, of that day that really, if our words and reminiscing about it wasn't enough for you, we can take a look at some of these historic images from that win over the Phillies.
This is like when you like go through your camera roll just like aimlessly. Do you ever do this?
Oh God, yes.
I just do this and
time,
like relive like the glory moments from when I was in college or whatever. I guess this isn't a particularly happy photo. This is Brandon Pfaadt looking sort of dejected as
he
he's
doesn't have any
mound.
Pictures where he ever looks pumped up, Jesse. You
that's
know this.
Fair. Yeah,
he's a very cool, calm, collected individual. That's kind of why he is the way he is, I feel like. That's why he's big game Brandon.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's why I thought it was like kind of like a descriptive moment of how he was the entire postseason, no matter what.
Yeah, Pfaadt was outstanding throughout the whole postseason.
And I needed to have a picture of Brandon Pfaadt.
It wouldn't have felt right to not have a shot of Pfaadt, even if he looks sort of dejected. Let's go to the next one.
Fire me up. There's the electricity we were looking for.
Yeah, and there was quite a bit of noise that really should accompany this photo as well, because you could hear Kevin Ginkel from the press box in this moment as he was shouting, screaming.
That's when he struck out the side in the 8th, right?
It's when he struck out the side in the 8th inning. And not only that, but he got 2 huge outs in the 7th. Andrew Saalfrank issued back-to-back walks with 1 out, and then Ginkel came in and got 2 flyouts to get the D-backs out of that inning. Obviously, we've talked about it. We had Ginkel on our show around this time last year. And it was a remarkable postseason run for him. He didn't allow an earned run the entire way, which is crazy to think about.
You also have Corbin Carroll making that last out there, and that's an iconic photo there. You also have I think Ryan in the chat said he still remembers the announcer's call in regards to that. And the Diamondbacks are moving on to the World Series.
Brian Anderson, man, he's nailing all these big postseason moments. Last year, this year, he's really good at what he does. But yeah, it wouldn't have felt right if Corbin Carroll had not been the one to catch that final out to send the Diamondbacks to the World Series. It really was perfect.
And of course, this one's gonna infuriate Thunderbolt. There's Torrey there celebrating. And again, what a feeling, this must have been for him. Like, I think that there is something to be said about how early, that trip to the World Series was for this franchise, and honestly, how good it must have felt, to kind of be leading these young guys and having these young guys, like you said, Corbin and Gabby were just the reasons why the Diamondbacks won this game. And obviously Kevin Ginkel played a huge role as well, right?
But a lot of people did.
I mean, you just got to be just over the moon that you were able to, manage these young guys to this point in their career. It's got, I mean, obviously the results in the World Series weren't as desired, but there probably wasn't a higher moment in this man's career as a manager than that moment right there, getting to put on that shirt of National League champion.
It looks like he didn't quite finish putting on the shirt.
Sometimes when you're wet with champagne, shirts don't go on very easily. I learned that. Like sometimes when you're, especially if you took off your shirt, and you might have doused yourself in champagne. But this is
pre-champagne shower, right?
Yeah. He's a little sweaty though. There's some condensation there. I don't know. Can I get some sad Phillies? I'd like some sad Phillies, maybe.
Had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon Marsh. Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, man.
You hate to see that guy sad.
You hate to see it, but
that's what he gets for having such a wet beard.
You
right?
love to see it. Oh, God, that spot is probably soaking wet when he gets up from it. They're going to have to, bring in some sand to dry it up. The Phillies make me so angry now. Yes, I'm salty about the Phillies, and now more so than I ever will be. So seeing sad Phillies makes me happy.
We cost them a championship. They would have beat the Rangers, I think, in that World Series. I feel good about that.
Yeah,
I know that I wanted to win it myself, but keeping those scumbags away from a championship that means something to me.
Yeah,
they would have been favored by a long shot if they had gone to the World Series. Yeah,
and of course the man that they took out this year, and the reason why maybe we didn't make the playoffs this year, that man right there. Man, he was electric last postseason. It's just incredible to think back upon that hitting streak he had and just everything that he did for this team. But give me one more good time shot. Oh, why didn't I know we were in the good times? When you're in the actual good times, you know what I mean? Why didn't we know that? Give me a shot of Alec Thomas, maybe with making making the bank his bank, or making it our bank. Is it our bank? It's our bank, right? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
That's Diamondback country, right?
You
there.
Plant a flag somewhere, and all of a sudden you own that territory.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, United States owns the moon, right?
Correct.
That's how that works. Oh man, that's electric.
I think this was probably the best moment of your life, Derek, and you weren't even there to witness it in person. You just witnessed
smoking
it.
A cigar.
Yeah.
God. Jerry P in the celebration with a beer down his pants there, and
Jerry knows how to party.
Oh my God.
He does.
Yeah. When you go and party with Jerry, you don't remember it because you're like, what happened that weekend? I've only seen the pictures. I don't remember, but yeah, no, I'm I don't know. Why am I more empty inside now? I thought this was going to make me feel better, and it somehow made me feel worse.
It just puts into perspective how long the Diamondbacks postseason run was. Because I don't know about you, Derek, but the end of the regular season feels like an eternity ago to me at this point.
It's crazy.
I can't even picture covering a baseball game at this point, even though it's only been 3 weeks. But yeah, the Diamondbacks last year at this time, they were still in the race. They were about to fly to Arlington to play, another 7-game series. So it was a remarkable run. It was something that, as someone who was able to cover all these games, I mean, that's something that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. And I guess it's also a reminder that, these kind of runs, they don't happen too often. This year's Diamondbacks team, we've said it a whole bunch. This year's Diamondbacks team was better than that Diamondbacks team. And there's a lot of very solid evidence to confirm that.
Yeah.
And yet we've been sitting here for 3 weeks talking about other teams in the postseason, making a bunch of our cherished viewers and listeners angry, because
especially with my clothing.
Especially, those choices are inexcusable, Derek. There's Yeah, that's absolutely earned. But
the Yamamoto King Snake, that was probably questionable at best.
That was 100% questionable. I take some responsibility for
criminal.
that.
Yeah, so some would say Kevin failed his producer test. That's for sure.
Jesse, I appreciate you taking some accountability for that.
Yeah, that was.
It was big of him, right?
Yeah,
Derek's wardrobe choices are fully on him,
hey,
but that one.
It's scatter day around this office, so I dressed appropriately today. But yes, I very much.
In chat, honestly, like I'll throw this out there. I'd like to apologize as well. If I was here, we all know that would have never.
Yeah, no,
that's true.
Damon would not have made that graphic.
I would have laughed in Derek's face, and then I would have said, "Wait, you were kidding, weren't you?"
It was more than just my decision. I feel like you know what? That's fine. We're not going to go into it, but. What I am going to go into, though, is one heck of a deal, because if you guys haven't signed up for our Die Hard membership yet, now is the time to do so. And that is because right now you can get that $48 introductory offer for your first year, which is just $4 a month billed annually. As Bo Brock would say, less than a Happy Meal a month. And of course, you get all the wonderful content that we have around here. Jesse's wonderful writing. We have our exclusive Die Hard only content from this show, Ask Archie, which we have a brand new one, our very first edition, showing up here momentarily. We'll have that out for our diehards. We'll also have Damon and me just cursing up a storm and going over controversial topics on D-Backs After Dark. Of course, you get your free t-shirt of your choice from the locker with that membership, as well as entrance to our Discord lounge, which is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan, and discounts on all of our events. So don't miss out on the chance to join the family over here at PHNX and become one of our diehards. Our other diehards will attest that the community is the biggest benefit. As much as I would like to say, we give you all this content. Jesse does some incredible work on his articles, including that upcoming piece on Gino Groover, as well as our other shows. Joining the family and being in Discord and finding this particular group of Arizona sports fans is probably the biggest benefit. So I implore you to check it out over at gophnx.com and sign up today. I promise you won't be disappointed. On the other side of this break, we have a big topic to discuss, which is the potential Diamondbacks future without Christian Walker. As much as we don't want to talk about that, it is very much a potential reality for this franchise. So we have a few ideas on maybe some replacements for Walker. And of course, there is nobody to replace Christian Walker other than Christian Walker. We will be talking about that on the other side of this break, so don't you go anywhere. Of course, check out Bet365. It does make watching sports more fun. And right now you can sign up using our code of PHNX365, deposit $10 and choose between two offers, either a bet and get offer where you can place a $5 bet or more and receive $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer where you can place up to a $1,000 bet. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a matched refund in bonus bets. Now is a great time to get down on Bet365. Football season is here, and I will say, even though we are a baseball podcast, I don't think there's anything that is more fun to bet on than football. There are early payout offers for all sports, including baseball, for the World Series, where if your team goes up by 5 runs or more, you'll get that early payout offer regardless of the outcome of the game. Parlay and same game parlay selections will also be marked as winners. So do not miss out. Download the Bet365 app and use that code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why it is never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Also, if you are in the market for a new vehicle, make sure to check out our official vehicles partner, Sanderson Ford. Sanderson Ford is an incredible group of people over there who will thrive on a no-hassle sales approach that will help you find the vehicle you're looking for and give you the best deal they can. Sanderson Ford is America's most awarded Ford dealership for customer satisfaction. And right now, you can get a 2024 F-150 truck with a 3.9% APR financing for 60 months, plus $1,000 cash back. But if you trade in your Ram truck, you get an additional $2,000 cash back. So we love working with Sanderson Ford because of all the things they do for our community right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And you can get it all with a no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense approach at Sanderson Ford. Offers OAC from Ford Credit expire 10/31. For your next vehicle purchase or lease, choose the dealership that gives back, pays it forward. See dealership for details. Well, Jesse, again, this is a topic most Diamondbacks fans don't really want to discuss because the preface is that the D-backs may lose Christian Walker. Now, we've heard some things about qualifying offers and such like that in regards to what Christian might receive from another team, what the Diamondbacks might do. But we do have to face the reality that the Diamondbacks may need to find a new first baseman.
It is the reality, and yeah, any time we talk about any potential replacements, we get a fair amount of hate mail for even entertaining the discussion in the first place. But yeah, the reality is that it is far from a guarantee that the Diamondbacks will bring back Christian Walker. We're not at all trying to say that they shouldn't bring back Christian Walker.
Correct.
I think you and I are pretty much in agreement that, it's not our money, but it seems like that's what's in the best interest of the team. It's going to be hard to replicate his production going any other direction. However, there are some guys in free agency who I think are reasonably good candidates, players who would cost less, that are by no means do we expect them to approximate Christian Walker's production, but they could still be reasonable replacements where you're not taking as big of a hit as you might expect. And one of those guys that I think could make sense for the Diamondbacks, if they aren't bringing Christian Walker back, is Carlos Santana, who is a 38-year-old. He is getting up there in age, certainly.
Let's be careful. This is a fine line we need to walk on age here. But yeah, no, the first question people asked me when they heard that Carlos Santana was our topic today was, He's still playing?
Yeah.
How old is he?
Honestly, it is remarkable. Carlos Santana, this is like his 15th season in the league. Let's see if I can find this. He's been in the league for a very long time. He's almost a 40 WAR player in his career. So he came into the league age 24. So yeah, this was his 15th season that he just played. Goodness. So he's going on season number 16. And I think that tells you right there, if you've played that many years in the league, you're a good player. And Carlos Santana, not to say that he's aged perfectly, but he's aged pretty darn well. If we look at Santana's numbers from the 2024 season, these aren't great, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty solid.
Yeah.
And yes, we did make this graphic in purple and teal because it's Throwback Thursday.
It's gorgeous, Jason. It's beautiful.
It's lovely. So yeah, in 2024, Santana for the Minnesota Twins /238, 328, 420. It's a 749 OPS with 23 homers, 71 RBI, and 3.0 Fangraphs wins above replacement. These are pretty decent numbers.
Yeah.
Are they outstanding for a first baseman? No, but the Twins got Santana on a 1-year, $5.25 million deal. And I think we all know the cost of bringing Christian Walker back is going to be way higher than that. So I don't know if you could necessarily get him for 1 year, $5 million again. The price tag might tick up a little bit based on the fact that he did just have a pretty good season with the Twins, but you're definitely looking at a 1-year deal. I don't think Santana's getting a 2-year contract at the age of 38. And it's probably going to be, $6-7 million, something maybe in that range. And you'd be saving a pretty good amount of money if you went that route as opposed to bring Walker back.
Walker has incredible defense, which we've discussed.
Yes.
And is going to be basically impossible to replicate. But if there was one position, I think that you didn't really care that much about taking a step back defensively is first base.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the one position that's going to hurt you the least by regressing in defense over there at first. So first of all, there's no point to even compare defensive metrics at all here because there's no question. But when you look at the side-by-side comparison for Christian Walker and Carlos Santana, what you'll see is that for a difference of potentially $15 million a year, you might not be losing that much.
Yeah, and I think the Santana didn't quite hit 328.
It was 238.
Yeah, 230. I think that's his OBP. But so the OPS comparison, 803 for Walker, 749 for Santana. Is that meaningful? Yes, but it's not alarming. 26 homers for Walker, 23 for Santana. Walker at 84 RBI compared to 71 for Santana. Obviously, Walker did miss a little bit of time. He missed about a month with that oblique injury, whereas Santana stayed healthy for pretty much the whole year, played 150 games, which I guess is a positive for him. That at this age, he's still really going out there and playing every single day. And the numbers at the bottom really stand out to me here. 3 Fangraphs WAR for Christian Walker, 3 Fangraphs WAR for Carlos Santana. If you go by wins above replacement, there was not a difference between Carlos Santana and Christian Walker in 2024.
That's so wild.
And a big part of that is defense. What you said earlier, Christian Walker, one of the best in the game at first base, the best in the game at first base. However, there was one first baseman in the league in 2024 that actually had more defensive runs saved and more outs above average than Christian Walker.
No.
And it
was Carlos Santana?
Carlos Santana. What? Carlos Santana had 8 defensive runs saved, 14 outs above average in 2024.
Wow.
Walker had 7 and 13.
Well, I lied about the defensive metrics. Maybe we should have thrown those up there.
I mean, I think Walker is still a better first baseman. Santana's defensive metrics have been good for a while. They haven't been quite this good. But yeah, that's definitely a positive for Santana, is that the Diamondbacks love defense. They value defense a lot. And, you know, Santana's probably not going to be Christian Walker at first base, but he's going to be, I think, safely well above average over there.
That's wild.
And that's something the Diamondbacks value a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he played about 140 more innings roughly than Christian Walker this season.
Right.
So he did have a chance to play, you know, a few more games due to Walker's injury and such. But I mean, in regards to Christian Walker coming back, I don't know. Like, I think this is what baseball at times is again, right? I think this is what kind of the Kansas City Royals cooked up this past offseason, where we saw them making some of their moves. And you're like, these aren't the flashy free agent splashes that you would normally make, and they saved themselves a considerable amount of money by making those savvy moves instead of going after the high price free agents. But you could say that, especially in the case of one Jordan Montgomery, that didn't work out for the team that signed him, did it? So sometimes signing these guys that might not put up the exact same numbers, but put up comparable numbers for significantly less isn't a terrible move, especially considering that this Diamondbacks team is really just looking to try to make something happen next year, right? It's not, you want to bring Christian Walker back long term, but there's uncertainty there, right? Christian Walker, the reports are that Christian Walker is going to cost you about 3 years, $60 million right now is what the estimate is.
That's reasonable, yeah.
And that's a reasonable estimate. There's a good chance that somebody else is going to go out there and offer him even more. But I will say that, you know, again, when it comes to at least next season, we kind of talked about it a little bit. It's kind of an all-in season for the Diamondbacks in regards to having certain guys potentially leave after next season, and that this is probably the last incarnation of this particular group of guys that went to the World Series. They all have a lot to play for, and next year is an important season for this franchise. It's also important individually for a lot of guys on the team. Right.
And I guess another couple of other things I'll mention about Santana. He is a switch hitter. So, you know, you feel pretty good about him against both righties and lefties. He did have significant splits in 2024. He had a 934 OPS against lefties compared to a 676 mark against righties. But I think that actually makes sense for the D-backs in that you have Pavin Smith in-house. Pavin, I think, is deserving of some sort of opportunity in 2025, given the season that he just had. He had an OPS around 900, and you look at the numbers under the hood, and they support it. So I think you probably go into 2025 planning to give Pavin some opportunity, and Carlos Santana could be kind of the perfect platoon partner. A 934 OPS against lefties. Pavin Smith obviously got the majority of his at-bats against righties last year as a left-handed hitter. So those two guys together kind of make sense. And if Pavin does struggle, which I think is possible, we don't know exactly if he's going to be able to replicate this, then you have a guy in Santana who just played 150 games and showed that he can be an everyday player and give you decent production. So I think it is kind of a nice balance where it opens the door for Pavin Smith to earn opportunity. And Santana is getting up there in age, so I think you could maybe talk him into taking a bit of a step back. But he also could just sort of play every day if Pavin is not able to replicate that, or if Pavin is used in more of a DH role, which I think is also an option going into next year.
Well, we're going to continue to look at candidates to potentially replace Christian Walker, but we're also going to cover C-Walk's, I guess, ongoing negotiations and free agency or with this team. According to Mike Hazen, some comments he made to Nick Piccolo and Steve Gilbert, the Diamondbacks might be spending a bit more in free agency than we thought. We kind of reviewed what they already are committed to, and we thought it looked like a fairly tall task. Maybe at this point they were already kind of maxed out on what you would want to spend for the 2025 season, but Hazen made some comments that made it sound like, if they believe in this team, that they might push in their chips even more on a 2025 season.
Yeah, Hazen was interviewed yesterday by both Nick Piecoro and Steve Gilbert. And he did have his meeting with Diamondbacks ownership, something they do after the season ends, to just talk about some numbers and some plans for the offseason and whatnot. And Hazen, here's what Hazen had to say about Ken Kendrick. He said, Ken has been very consistent since I've been here. If he thinks we have a good team, he wants to push forward to see that team get into the playoffs. He has consistently, when we have a good team, given us resources to go out and get good players, and we have a good team. So Hazen did not provide any specifics, nor did Kendrick provide any specifics in his interview earlier this month about what exactly the payroll is going to look like. We don't have an answer to that. But based on the comments that Hazen made, based on what Ken said in his interview over on 98.7 earlier this month, at the very least, it doesn't sound like the Diamondbacks are cutting back significantly. Something in a similar range to what they had in 2024 sounds reasonably possible. Are they going to go well north of that? I have my doubts, but also last year around this time, we were talking about the Diamondbacks spending like $140 million in 2024, and they wound up spending 175.
And we thought that was crazy, even pushing it up to 140. We thought Lourdes was gone for sure.
Yeah,
I feel the same way about Christian Walker. Michael asked in the comments, what percentage are we giving re-signing Walk? And I probably feel the same about Lourdes. I think my feelings on Lourdes were a little different because I felt like Lourdes had a big season. And then he comes off of a year where the team that he's on makes it to the World Series. Typically in sports, that gives you that little extra bump. If you won the championship, it bumps you even more, right? But making it to the championship gives you that kind of increase. And Lourdes was a commodity I thought some teams would be willing to overpay for. And in the end, he ends up coming back to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
So I think I would feel a similar feeling about about Christian Walker. And I know that there's a lot of teams that are interested in him. I think that's probably the thing that's scarier, because I don't know if we heard about the interest in Lourdes last offseason as much as we've heard the interest from a lot of teams in Walk.
Yeah, I think, a right-handed hitting outfielder is just inherently not as valuable of a player. I guess corner outfielder in particular, just not as valuable as Christian Walker, who is really one of the best hitting first basemen in baseball.
Well as best defensive.
Yeah, in addition to the defense. But on offense, the Diamondbacks had the fourth highest team OPS, I believe it was, at first base this year. And the only teams in front of them, I think it's the Blue Jays with Vlad Guerrero Jr., it's the Phillies with Bryce Harper, and it's the Dodgers with Freddie Freeman. There are not that many great hitting first basemen in the league right now. It's sort of weird, but that's just kind of the reality of the situation. And so Walker is going to, as one of those guys, Walker is going to get a lot of interest because of that. If I had to put a percentage on it, I don't know, man. I think it's less than 50 that they bring Walker back. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. It's
not 5, but I think it's somewhere between 5 and 50%.
Yeah,
that's about as specific as I'm willing to go.
I'll push it a little further. I'm somewhere between 12% and 48%.
Nice.
There you go.
All right.
Not feeling great about it, but I do think there's a good chance that Walker's love for his teammates, for this city. I mean, Archie talked about it yesterday about just loving being here, and Christian Walker, he's just a cowboy, man. He's just a bourbon drinking cowboy, that guy. I love him so much. I think there's a good chance that maybe, being in the one place that he's pretty much played his entire major league career might have a little impact. And also, Nick Piecoro is reporting that the Diamondbacks are expected to offer Walker a qualifying offer. That's a 1-year, $21.05 million deal. It's a lot of money.
It is, yeah. And I think for me, the qualifying offer is frankly another reason why I think the Diamondbacks are not so likely to bring Walker back, because if Walker rejects that offer, which I think he will, he might not. I almost think
it
that
feels like he will because of the long, like just having a longer term deal, right?
Right.
Just having the security of having 3 years instead of just having 1 year, especially considering that he didn't finish this season very strong and he got injured. Like he needed this to be a big season for him. Like we were talking about the guys that have essentially the end of their contract year next year, right? So there is something to be said about the issues essentially that Christian Walker had there at the end, and again trying to make sure that he capitalizes on this moment as much as possible to secure his financial future.
I mean, the fact that it's a 1-year deal, $21 million is a decent amount of money for him, I think, for 1 year. But you're right; he could probably
get that times 3.
Yeah, he could probably get that times 3 exactly. So we think Walker is going to reject this deal, and if he does, the Diamondbacks would be entitled to draft compensation in next year's draft. And so at that point, the calculus for re-signing him is, you're not only paying the money to bring him back, in a sense, you're also paying this draft pick that you would also be getting. There's like an opportunity cost to bringing Walker back in a sense. But
that draft pick could be very important for a team that needs it.
Yeah. I mean, teams really do value these draft picks. I don't think it means the Diamondbacks are, there's no way that they're going to bring him back just because of that. And I guess the flip side is that having draft pick compensation tied to Walker would maybe drive his price tag down a little bit in the marketplace. Maybe that gives the Diamondbacks a bit of a leg up during those negotiations. But I think it's very possible they bring Walker back, and these conversations we're having about Paul Goldschmidt and Carlos Santana and all that, we can just throw it out the window. But that's not really my expectation. He's going to have a lot of suitors. He had a good season, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Well, we have some more Arizona Fall League updates to discuss. Jesse was out there last night, so we will be discussing that on the other side. We made you wait too long. We're going to show you me raking at Chase Field.
That's all people really care about.
That's all that we've been keeping you. That's the tease the whole episode. We've just been waiting for that. But we'll do all of that on the other side of this break. Of course, Gila River Resorts and Casinos is the place to go when you are looking to have yourself a wonderful time, whether it's a staycation or a night out, because no one does it better. You can visit any one of their 4 locations here in the Valley to experience the best that Gila River has to offer. And of course, you can let relaxation take charge at any one of those 4 locations, as well as fun night out of exciting gaming. Go out, check out their over 4,500 slot machines and live table games, where you can catch any of the action in the sports world at their sports books. With an unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement that you won't find anywhere else in the desert, check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We will be hosting our events there all season long, including Cardinals and Suns watch parties and so much more. So stay tuned for info on how to come hang out with us. And of course, you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details. Got to plan that boys trip that you did not include me in there, Damon, here very soon, so that we can achieve legendary status together as a group, as a team. By the way, Jesse doesn't want to dress in the same colors as me anymore. That's a whole other topic.
I don't. No.
I check in with him to see what, we're a team.
We have to coordinate against matching now.
Yeah, he lies to me about what he's wearing. But of course, we do look like a team when we go to America's Thirst Stop, which is Circle K, because we both go in and hit up, of course, those Polar Pops, which you can get 5 for absolutely free by signing up for the Inner Circle right now. All you got to do is download the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating location. Visit circlek.com for details. But of course, when we do, you'll save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You'll save 3 cents per gallon every day after that. And like I said, you'll get your first 5 Polar Pops for absolutely free. So do not miss out on Circle K. Stop by America's Thirst Stop today. All right, well, we are your fall guys. Arizona Fall League is still in swing. We had we do have an important update from the Dominican Republic Winter League, but that's a whole other story for tomorrow, perhaps, because Emmanuel Rivera got himself into an altercation against our team. We are Tigres podcast, by the way. Don't forget that. But first and foremost, we are a Salt River Raptors podcast. And Jesse, what did you got from last night's game?
Yeah. I've been out there the last couple of days. Dylan Ray started on Tuesday night, and Yu-Min Lin started yesterday. Yu-Min Lin, his final line was not spectacular. He gave up 3 runs in 3 innings. I will say that his defense did him no favors in this game. I think he pitched better than those numbers indicate. I believe he is at a 3 ERA now for the Fall League, 3 runs all allowed in that game last night in 9 innings pitched. So on the whole, his body of work in the Fall League has been very impressive. I got to talk to him for a while after the game yesterday. I'll have a cool story coming out on him here in the next couple of weeks. But I think that he continues to look pretty solid out there, getting some work in after that obviously brutal injury that he suffered earlier in the season. Dylan Ray also was very interesting to me on Tuesday. He was using his changeup a whole bunch, which is a pitch that I haven't seen him throw a ton. And his changeup has like tons of spin. I'm sort of getting down in the weeds here a little bit. But usually with a changeup, you're trying to actually prevent spin. Whereas like with a breaking pitch, you're trying to make the ball spin as much as possible. And Dylan Ray's changeup is unique in that the spin rate is outrageously high. It is extremely, extremely high. Very similar actually to one Devin Williams, who has, of course, one of the best changeups in the entire sport. And our buddy Michael McDermott talked to Dylan Ray about that a little bit yesterday. Got some interesting quotes about how Dylan Ray's changeup actually is fashioned after Devin Williams' changeup in some ways. So
that's wild. That's wild that we're getting to that point, right? And I mean, Devin Williams hasn't even been around that long to be like, oh, he's fashioning it after a Legends, pitch, right?
Yeah.
No, this is just Devin Williams. It's been a stud for like the last 2 seasons mostly.
Yeah. I mean, maybe slightly longer than that, but it's not like Devin Williams was doing this in 2010 or something. Right. So that was interesting. I feel like I've heard more about his breaking stuff, and he has some good rise on his fastball. If this changeup is for real, and it did get a good amount of swing and miss in that game on Tuesday, you can dream on Dylan Ray a little bit more. So that was an interesting development for sure.
Well, of course, we also had that video we showed yesterday of Tommy Troy talking a little bit about the prior day with the check swing challenge system, which continues to be interesting. And
there's another one yesterday.
A lot of buzz around Major League Baseball in regards to that. I feel like the reception is fairly positive. People don't feel like it's overcomplicating the game. They like it.
Yeah. I think everyone just wants clarity on exactly what the rule is going to be.
That 45-degree angle thing is wild to me. But.
Yeah, you get to a point where this isn't so much a just like a challenge system to try to get calls correct. It's really like a full-on rule change.
Yeah, yes. It's trying to change I guess what people know as a check swing.
It's trying to make it like impossible for a hitter to do anything other than check swing. Like it's basically requiring a hitter to commit fully to the swing in order for it to count as a swing. But
do we hate that? Do you hate that? I mean, I guess there's things that become part of the game that we just grow used to.
Yeah.
Right. But it is completely up to that man who's way down there. His decision whether or not you swung or not. No rule, no black or white definition, nothing we can track, nothing we can say, look, he didn't cross. Because we've seen plenty of times where a check swing has crossed home plate and they called it a ball or they said he held up, right? So, it just really feels like this is MLB finally defining something that they've kind of let go this entire time. And, I mean, it's not the only rule. It's just with time they've removed the human element for the most part out of the game, where you can go back and say that was on that umpire's discretion, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing for that umpire to be calling a strike zone. It's another one for him to be reimagining what the strike zone is, right? You know what the strike zone is. You might get mad at him for calling some balls outside, strikes or whatever, but as long as he does it all game long, we're fine with that for the most part. It's consistency that we're looking for. But again, there are some umpires that just take the game and manipulate it into their own and make all the rules their decision. And it's so hard as an athlete to not only play under an umpire like that, but also to kind of deal with their decision making based on their bad calls in some cases, right? So I get it. And especially as we touched on yesterday, sports gambling has to have an impact on this, because before it's just fans being upset that their team lost or won or, whatever, right? Now you're talking about millions of dollars potentially being on the line in a big moment in a big game.
Yeah, I think you just want the rules to be well defined, and maybe this is an opportunity for Major League Baseball to actually define what the rule is.
Right.
We saw them come up with the weird 45-degree angle thing that we talked about with Archie yesterday, and yeah, it is very generous for hitters. I feel like there's probably some middle ground there.
Maybe
make it
35 degrees.
Yeah, like make it generous for hitters, but maybe we back it down to 30 degrees or 25 or something like that. It'll be a really interesting thing to follow in the coming months. It doesn't sound like this is coming to Major League Baseball anytime soon. Yeah. I think this is the first step in what is probably going to be.
We'll get ABS way before we get this.
That's for sure. I think so. But a lot of it just depends on the technology, and if they feel like the technology is ready to perform and be reliable at the big league level, then I think we probably will see this at some point in the big leagues. It seems like it's getting a positive reception, and I think it would make the game better.
All right, well, I lied about showing you the video of me hitting because we're going to make you wait just one more break, but don't go anywhere because we'll get to it right on the other side.
Sure you will.
First, I got to tell you about Chicken and Pickle. You guys know about that amazing facility they have out there in Glendale. You can go out there, indoor, outdoor, pickleball. They will teach you if you're new. If you're a seasoned vet, you can sign up for leagues. You can find other people to play with, or you can come out with your friends and family and enjoy a wonderful night out playing pickleball. And it doesn't have to just be pickleball, but they have incredible food. They have incredible things to do. They have giant board games of every kind. Jenga, Connect Four, it doesn't matter. Giant Battleship. If there's a giant version of a game, they have it out there because Chicken and Pickle is an amazing entertainment facility, and you can say goodbye to interrupting your game or your food for fun with their backyard menu, where you can order delicious shareables and drinks from their server outside, have them delivered to you, and have a great time. It's also a great place for you to just have a big group gathering out. So if you're new to pickleball, they have their newbie nights, a lot of options for you to check out. Head over to chickenandpickle.com to see all the fun you can have at their Glendale location. Most importantly, join us for our Cardinals tailgates at Chicken and Pickle, where we've been out there most of this year having a blast on Sundays. And I mean, don't mind me, I'm sad about my fantasy football team, but I'm not sad about Chicken and Pickle because it's a great place. It's a great place to hang. Also, talking about great places to hang, there is no better place to hang out if you are a hockey fan than over with our pals at What Chaos. If you miss Sean DePaz, that is where you can find him. What Chaos, the All-City hockey podcast, hosted by Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean. It's mostly hockey with a whole lot of nonsense, but they interview players, coaches, notable personalities. It is our national hockey show, so of course, if you want to keep up on everything on the ice, make sure to check it out. They also have an incredible new merch collection, which just dropped in partnership with Just Dishin'. Shirts, hoodies, hats, accessories. They're amazing. The logo, the colors for What Chaos. I've never been more jealous of another show on our network than that dog riding in a Zamboni logo that they got. So visit justdishin.com to check it out.
How much did Sean DePaz pay you to do this?
No.
Don't normally do What Chaos ad reads.
I love their stuff. My feelings on Sean DePaz are different. Like, that's a whole other thing. That guy is definitely not rooting for the Yankees in the World Series. We know that, but
that's fair.
What Chaos has.
You might not be either.
Don't you dare.
Given your history.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. You question me on that.
It would be really cool if Ohtani won a ring.
Oh, shut up. No one that's not even a quote that was said on this show at any point. You're just making stuff up. It's false news, but this isn't false news because we had a chance to go out to Chase Field today. I went out there with Kyle because Jesse had stuff to do. But we got to try some of their incredible food that they have for that November night's music festival. They're very excited about that upcoming music festival. It is some of my favorite bands that I travel to reggae festivals to see, like Revolution and Sublime with Bradley's son. Jacob is fronting that Sublime version, and that's really cool. Not to mention Weezer, Violent Femmes, and so many others. But they pulled out all the stops for this one. They had, Jesse, one of the most incredible burgers I've ever seen in my life. It's called the Novemburger. It's 2 beef patties with jalapeno bacon, grilled cheese sandwiches as the buns, and then just chicken wings and sausages on the top of it as like accoutrements, as little like wonderful side items, I guess. I don't know. It was too much. It's too much food for one human being. They put
chicken wings and sausages on
it's like the topping with
on top of a burger
through it into a burger that has grilled cheese sandwiches for the buns.
Oh my god,
it's insanity. But we got to go try it out, and also I got to hit a little batting practice out at Chase Field, and we got film of it. And thank God we did, because I smashed one. Let's take a look.
Let's do this. You see that? You got all of that, right? You got that one, especially.
Oh, that was it? I hit like 6 balls and we just cut it down to 1. That's fine. We'll have the full video out for you on social media. I'm furious at Kyle that he didn't get where that one landed, though, because that one was a beautiful shot. But yes, let me tell you, there's nothing more fun sometimes than getting the opportunity to take batting practice out at Chase Field. And I did talk to our pal Kat, who suggested that maybe we make this a little bit more than just batting practice, Jesse. She suggested that perhaps we turn this into a celebrity media game.
Oh, 100%.
Where we actually play against each other. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, did we have another batting practice event scheduled? Is this on the calendar?
We're gonna have to figure it out for sure. We'll get them to do it.
I'd take
RA says line out. It was no line out. It was not a line out. That one went to the outfield. Unless someone jumped and grabbed it.
I think I'd take you and me over Steve Gilbert probably. Yeah. I don't know. I think Nick Picoro
Can we
probably
get Nick on our
rakes.
Team? Yes, yeah, Nick does rake.
We want Nick and Alex Weiner on our team.
Yes. They can keep Jack Summers and Steve Gilbert.
They can have Steve for sure.
Barry Bloom can be on their team.
Yep. Yeah. They can have Barry.
Okay. Who else can we take?
Yeah, who are we missing here? I guess from the PR staff, Shane. We definitely take Shane.
1,000%.
Shane pitched in college.
Yeah.
So
Jesse looked up Shane's stats. It's incredible.
Shane has a baseball reference page, so you know his baseball career is legit. Yeah, and then who else? I'm trying to think if there's anyone we're missing here. I guess Damon is on our team. We kind of
1,000%. How did you forget that? What is that even a question?
Yeah.
I'm Alec Thomas. I don't know what I'm getting you from the plate, but I'm tracking everything down in the outfield.
That's the thing that made me the most sad about this today, is that they told me that if I wanted to, I could go shag fly balls. And unfortunately, because I have to do this show, I had to come back, Jesse. But you know what made me the most mad? I had my glove with me. Damon, I had my glove with me. I could have shagged balls at Chase Field with my new glove.
Could have shown everybody how cool it is.
Yeah, it's a beautiful glove. But
it is.
Anyway. Well, we thank you guys for joining us for our very first edition of Throwback Thursday. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will have this for you every Thursday, so make sure to join us. This man decided in the middle of the start of the World Series to go on vacation, so he will not be back with us tomorrow, but I will be bringing in my one and only, one of my best friends in the whole world, Rock Knowledge, is going to be joining us, of course. Rock always stops by, or hasn't stopped by in a while. He's been busy in life, but he's our trading card guru, as well as a huge baseball fan that has been locked in to the playoffs. So we will be bringing you a post-game show tomorrow night after Game 1 of the World Series. Make sure to join us for that. But in the meantime, you can make sure to follow us all on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, Damon Dog is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are still and will forever be Damon's Dogs. Bark, bark.
That's really what Throwback Thursday. It's really Throwback Thursday because Damon is back. Yeah, Damon is back with us on Thursdays. So
I told Jesse I was workshopping Damon Thursday just because I've done 2 in a row now. It feels like this is Kevin's off day. It feels like Thursdays is kind of my welcome back to the show.
I mean, Jacob's in the office too. That's very much Throwback Thursday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the ultimate Throwback Thursday.
But yeah, I mean, I think Throwback Thursday works too. Damon Thursday has a nice ring to it.
I get it.
You want us to change the logo on the screen to be Damon Thursday?
I mean,
and just in my cartoon head,
it's
just the lower logo.
That's our new podcast logo for Thursdays. Just Damon's face.
I guess I thought I was the only maniac around here, but apparently someone else has a huge ego as well, and I am here for it. But speaking of that huge ego, you have fun in Miami, and you make sure you come back. Okay, that's the most important part.
I gotta try to drink
water.
God
damn it! You make sure you come back and drink lots of water.
Lots of water.
Drink all the water.
I don't think we welcome him back if the Cardinals don't win, though. I think it's contingent on.
I'm not worried about that. It's the Dolphins. They're terrible. But anyway.
Aren't they? They're getting Tua back, though, right?
I know. I'm just trying to hit. He also is a Dolphins fan, so it's like
that's true. Damon's rooting for the Dolphins.
He is. He's a bad person, and he's talking
Don't do that
about
to me
and my allegiances. Anyway,
don't put me on blast like that.
We appreciate you guys so much. Of course, our show's at PHNX_DBacks, but all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you again so much for your time. We will see you tomorrow. And until then, remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun on Throwback Thursday.
We all silly like the mayor.